revitalization of downtown Hilo. So the question is, and this, you get a minute and a half to answer on this. There's actually two parts, a minute and a half for each part. Downtown businesses that are just starting up or those hoping to make improvements typically experience costly wait times to obtain and finalize permits. Do you have any ideas for how the county could streamline the process?
Just that?
So far.
Oh.
A minute and a half on that one. You want the second one now?
Okay.
All right.
Bring it.
Okay. Do you support creating incentives for commercial property owners in downtown Hilo to make improvements on their exterior facades? If so, what kind of incentives would you advocate for? So the first one is about streamlining the permit process.
Okay. Well, we need to hire more inspectors. I built a house recently, and so I'm very familiar with wait time for permits and for inspectors, and the fact that they only have one inspector to do certain days of the week. So if you miss it on Monday, you're waiting till Wednesday for them to come through. So we definitely need to hire more inspectors to get the permit wait time down. As far as incentives for commercial properties, again, we're talking about public-private partnerships. And I think that the Benjamin Moore public-private partnership was awesome, and it's beautiful, and I'm a painter, so I cannot understate the importance of a freshly painted facade. It's lovely, I mean, and people love it, and I love the downtown Bayfront area, so it's a huge improvement to the downtown area. I think it would be neat if the local Benjamin Moore offered more paint to volunteers to paint the rest of the downtown area. The bandstand is a particularly sore spot for me. We have a lot of events at that bandstand, and for the 15 years I've lived here, it has looked worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's now to the point where it's not just a simple paint job, it's a huge restore job. I am a painter, I've looked at it, and I know what's involved, and it's going to be a very costly contracted job. So that would be my next downtown Hilo improvement. I would focus some attention on the bandstand.
Okay, as far as incentives, was the first one incentives or the?
The first one was about streamlining the permit process.
Sorry, yeah. This is really strange. I mean, it's always not. We always go back to the way things are done all the time. And a lot of times the requirements right now is not working. So I would like, I saw one real thing that was done in Alaska wherein the government actually paid for the AIS for the whole area that they are going to develop. They pay for it and they get all of the information. So if any businesses or individuals wants to invest in that area, they don't have to go through those EIS or whatever that is required. And that is really one of those sticky points that we require all of those, particularly in the tsunami zone that is present right now in the downtown area. As far as incentives is concerned, we should provide low-cost loans to construct structures. But to me again, meet the tsunami standards. I mean, we always look at knowing, although we know that tsunami is coming, but yet we don't plan for it. And I really would like to advocate that we start facing the situation that it is real and it is coming, and we have to plan for those. And if the private sector wants to take the risk in operating in the area, then they should be allowed, but then they should be ensured a waiver system that develop that and acknowledge that the government will not have the responsibility for helping them if they get washed out. So if the waiver is signed, and they can go through the usual process. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any new ideas when it comes to fast-tracking the permit process. Hiring more staff, of course, that would help. As for the revitalization, maybe the only real incentive is the money. So if if the county can maybe give special rates to improve the facades, the permit costs. I like the idea of low-cost loans also, that's a good idea. And that would be about it. I mean, the big economic drivers in Hilo is the big festivals. I know we have Mary Monarch, a lot of programs that we can bring. We have the Orchid Show now. Whatever we can do to develop more, like First Fridays, that's all good, bringing the money back down to town. But really, the only incentive would be the money, so bringing down the cost.
Okay, thank you. Aaron?
Thank you. With regard to permitting really comes under the auspices of the mayor's office. It's an administrative function. And certainly there are some things that the council can do to advocate for, streamlining of that process. And one thing that comes to mind, short of, beefing up the staff, and, that certainly is an option. But one thing I've seen in the past is a lack of cross-training on the part of the people who are doing the permitting. So if the electrical inspector is out sick, then it's stuck at that person's desk. But if you had cross-training between the electrical inspector, the building inspector, and the plumbing inspector, all of these guys had that type of expertise, then you wouldn't have that kind of bottleneck. And so that's something that I've seen from my experience. And with regard to incentives, the county, the biggest thing that we have is the taxing power, right? And so there's certainly an option available to the county to provide tax credit, real property tax credits to people who try to improve their property. I really can't think of the exact examples, but that's something that is definitely available to the county.
Okay, thank you. So let's have you start this again, Aaron.